This is FightFans Radio.
Hello, everyone. Another edition of Untethered MMA on FightFans Radio. To reach the show, you can call us at 410-988-6525. You can reach us on Twitter. You can reach me at It's Mike Fagan, Derek at FightLinkerSubbo, and Mr. Matt Roth, Bleacher Report, Superstar Extraordinaire at Matt Roth 512. Boys, we're running a little late, so we're going to get this thing going right away. Saturday, UFC 152. I guess the first thing I want to ask both of you is, what were you thinking when Vitor Belfort locked up that armbar?
Well, I'm happy I wasn't there because I jumped on my couch chair and I just started yelling a bunch and just started yelling, "Go, go, go, go!" I couldn't do that on press road. I'm pretty sure I would have anyway. So I was losing my mind when that happened.
And how distraught were you when Jones got his way out of it?
Pretty bummed out.
Derek?
Look at you caring about a John Jones fight. How dare you do that after he sullied the name of the sport with his quitting ways. You see how little of a shit everyone is.
I like Derek trying to talk trash and Matt just no-selling it.
No, absolutely. That's why Matt will never have a job in the business, as they call it.
What?
You don't put other people over, Roth. You're just like Hogan.
I am like Hogan. I'm also like Flair. And I'm like Harley Race.
No, you're not a good worker.
Bruno San Martino.
Stop comparing yourself to good workers.
No, but Bruno San Martino never put anybody over. Mae Young never put anybody over. That bitch held the title for like 48 years.
Then you can be her. That's fine. You can keep that one. I
Bruno
was excited.
San Martino didn't lose a belt for 5 years, Subbo.
Who'd he lose it to?
Some Mexican guy.
Well, he put that Mexican guy over. But anyway, I was excited. I was at the bar with some people that are not particularly into fighting. So given all the hype and the fact that they had heard of John Jones before this, they thought it was just going to be a mauling. And that armbar, which I had to thusly explain to them, did get the bar jumping a little bit between the people that knew what was going on and the people that didn't. And, like I said, it was a John Jones fight. It's the best in the world. And as soon as the bell rings, we're all just kind of watching the screen. We leave all that other shit behind at the door. And whoever he's against next, whether it is a big opponent or if he's just going to defend his title a little bit longer, people are going to be excited to see it.
It was another dominant performance from Jones outside of the armbar, and also there was a moment at the end of the second or third round where Vitor had a triangle position, which could have had Jones in more trouble if there was more time left. But still, overall, a dominant performance from Jones. I think, obviously, Vitor was way more game than anyone expected him to be.
Yeah, and I had this discussion with Ryan on the Fight Linker podcast, the low blow that we do every Sunday. Now we brought it back. And since John Jones is so well-rounded, and a lot of these champions are, a lot of times you think the only way a guy can beat him is to be disproportionately better than him at one realm of the fight. Like Machida's a better striker. We thought Belfort was, but it turns out his jiu-jitsu game was the problem for Jones. Now you have to look at guys at 205 that are just really special in one area. And given the fact, like you said, that we saw Jones's submission defense kind of iffy twice, I think Vinny Magalesh would be a very interesting opponent if he can reel off a couple more wins. And I don't
that Glover Teixeira is also like a world-class grappler, right?
Yes, I do, but I haven't seen it against top-level competition, and I need to.
I mean, like on like the grappling tournament, Like he's like an
Sure.
Abu Dhabi guy. Like
Well, fucking, I know, and he's legit too. But I think that Vinny would beat him in a grappling competition, and I need to see Glover
but
be
then Vinny
somebody
doesn't
better
hit
than Kyle
hard.
Kingsbury.
Vinny doesn't hit as hard, man.
No, but it's Kyle Kingsbury, bro. Is that Glover's best win?
No, so could you.
So could you. Okay, so you got to beat somebody better than those two guys before. And Vinny hasn't really beaten anybody either. But like I said, in a grappling tournament, I'd probably pick Vinny. So if I'm picking guys for opponents on Jones based on their disproportionate dominance in grappling, I'm going to go with Vinny at that weight.
But before we kind of continue with that about what's next for Jones, one thing that I've noticed about Jones, and this was prevalent in the Vera fight. Vera wasn't able to capitalize on it for obvious reasons, but Jones has been really lazy with how he places his hands when he's on top in guard, and he's been able to overcome it, or I wouldn't say overcome, but he's able to use it to his advantage because it puts guys in a position where they think they can go for stuff, and then he can just come down with elbows. But you saw with Vitor, who I believe has no submission victories, at least in the UFC. That you can catch him and you can exploit that sort of laziness on the ground. Then again, that might be something that this sort of kicks Jones in the ass about it, and he kind of starts to focus on it in training. But since we were kind of broaching this topic anyway.
Real quick on that, in the post-fight interview, he said, "I don't train my jiu-jitsu every day," and that blows me away. And I don't think that'll be the case anymore.
That will never be the case again.
No. But yeah, who do you want to see Jones fight next at this point? I believe Machida and Henderson are going to fight next. Is that right? Am I remembering things correctly about what?
Yeah, I think he said that Dan's not going to get the title. He had some little mini rant about if you want the fucking title shot, come and get it. If not, then you're not going to get it. When you come around to wanting it. Something along those lines. That it was a punishment for Machida. I think he's pissed at Henderson for keeping the injury a secret, even though we're not going to hear a lot about that.
Yeah, but who would you want to see him fight next at this point? I mean,
well, the obvious idea would be Anderson Silva because Andy doesn't have a lot of time left. He seems powerfully disinterested in fighting Michael Bisping or Chris Weidman.
Hold on, does Anderson have cancer that I'm not aware of?
We're all waiting for it, God. We've been waiting for the last 2 years for the wheels to fall off and for the guy to lose a UFC fight, which he still hasn't done. I consider it an inevitable function of age at some point. I don't want to be one of these guys that when Fedor is 35 years into his career, they start getting shocked when he's losing to guys that are younger and bigger than him. I don't want that to surprise me with Anderson because it's going to happen one day, even though he is the best. So that's the fight you want to see for John Jones. Other than that, at 205, whenever they want to do Machida versus Henderson, I don't think we'll see Jones again this year. So if he gets a little vacation, then great. Dana seems to be of the opinion that his arm injury isn't that bad and that he'll be back quickly. So maybe he has somebody in mind. But at 205, ready-made contenders, I don't know.
You have three ready-made contenders.
Name them.
Yeah, name them.
Well, winner of Gustafsson, Shogun.
Gustafsson.
Winner of the Shera, Maldonado, if the Shera wins.
That'd be pretty crazy to get a title shot after beating.
Yeah, you want to put Teixeira in a fucking title shot already? Come on,
dude. They want to put Teixeira in a title shot.
If he beats the shit out of Rampage, then you have an excuse. But not if he beats the shit out of Fabio Maldonado.
Yeah,
that's good box.
Get out of here.
Fuck off. That's some sort of fucking Sabo argument right there.
Stop it.
Who's the third? The Henderson Machida?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those seem like the most logical decisions or choices that are available.
You're just looking at like a 6-month turnaround on any of those. None of these guys can fight John before September or before like fucking February or March.
Yeah, and Greg Jackson today or yesterday was saying that Jones's arm wasn't dislocated, so it doesn't look that serious. But I mean, if we're just talking about the arm itself, I mean, it not being dislocated isn't a surprise. It's the joints and the tendons there that.
Yeah,
nerves.
Ligaments.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly he gets turned around. I think you're right, Derek, though. I would be shocked if we saw him in 2012 again, unless it was that year-end December show. And
they already got those pretty stacked, both of those.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
pay-per-view and that Fox card. They're looking pretty good right
Moving on down the line here, the
Yo,
Demetrius.
what did you think of everybody booing the flyweights?
That was dumb, but I hate most MMA fans, so it doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it was a good fight. I wouldn't have been booing it, but considering the precedent of UFC crowds in the past, I'm not terribly surprised by any means. It wasn't a crazy high octane fight.
It was a good scrap. It was competitive.
It was
it was two guys that knew what they were doing and didn't want to put themselves into dangerous situations. And some fans are turned off by that. And people get on Dana for saying don't buy the card if you don't want to fucking see it. But I like an owner that I'm not going to placate to everybody. There are people that don't like the sport that aren't going to like the sport, and I'm not going to change the sport in order to get their approval.
Well, that's a much more diplomatic way of saying it than if you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I know, but he's not a diplomat in that sense.
What did you think, Matthew? Since you brought it up,
what I think of what?
The booing.
The booing, I thought it was horrendous.
All right.
I thought it was horrendous, man. I thought that was a great fight. I was really, really, really impressed by DeMarcus Johnson, and so those boos suck.
Wait,
I feel like it was kind of the same fight as Cruz versus Faber.
Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius.
I didn't think it was a great fight. I thought it was a good enough fight.
It was a fine fight.
It was a good fight.
Cruz versus Faber was a fine fight with like 2 5-second spurts that were more exciting than Johnson versus Cruz, but nobody was booing during Cruz Faber.
I enjoyed Cruz Faber way more than this one.
It had a couple of moments that were maybe a finish. A guy got dropped once or twice, and that didn't really happen in this fight, but that's really the only difference. I mean, it was still 5 rounds of just competitive action.
I don't know. I thought there was more engaging in that fight than this one. But that's just my opinion.
Check the fight linker, the fight metric stats. I don't fucking know.
I could do that. The third featured fight on this card, Michael Bisping taking the decision over Brian Stan. The interesting thing about this one is Dana, apparently, and this is coming from Brian Stan and from Dana today. Dana scored it for Stan, and I think he might be the only person on earth that did that, outside of Stan's immediate family.
Yeah, I wanted to score it for Stan more than anybody in the world, and I couldn't do it. He didn't win that third round.
Dude, he didn't win any round. He may have won one round.
I give him the first.
I probably had him winning the first two, but there's an argument that you could still give it to Bisping or even a 10-10.
Yeah, but the third, I don't see that for Stan at all.
Oh,
I mean,
no, not at all. That wasn't a Stan win.
But speaking of Silva, we talked about, potentially him fighting Jones, which I don't think is going to happen. But Dana talking about Bisping and Silva, it's a fight he wants to see. That seems like, depending on the timeline of the St. Pierre fight, if that is even going to happen, if George needs some time off to prepare, it seems like Bisping might be a great kind of
nice in between. Nice, you were at 205, you get to move down before going way down because George St. Pierre will probably be at a catch weight fight. I do agree with Dana begrudgingly on Michael Bisping because he says that he doesn't get enough credit for being as good a fighter as he is, and that's probably true. He's a really good wrestler. He has solid boxing and good submission defense, and you put those three together in a big body at 185, that's a really good fighter.
Well, and Bisping's problem is that he just doesn't have that game-changing KO power. I mean, he's
susceptible to it.
Yeah, exactly. He's a little susceptible. That was my next point. Those two X factors, that really makes it tough for me to see a way for him to beat Anderson. But I think I agree. I think Bisping's one of those underrated guys, and I think a lot of it's because, I think a lot of people still to this day, there's a lot of people that still to this day think that he lost the Matt Hamill fight. I think that leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and also just his personality is for whatever reason, people don't like him.
He's a total asshole. The Jorge Rivera fight also didn't help with the blatant knee and then still almost getting knocked out by a not very good fighter in the second round because he is susceptible to people with power in their right hands. But then again, I think he probably beat Yoshin Okami in a fight. I still want to see him fight Tim Bosch because I love Tim Bosch. But other than that, he's probably one of the best in the world at that weight. It's like fucking razors in my mouth to say it.
I think Okami Bisping would be a pretty interesting fight.
That would be fun.
I just think Bisping's a better boxer, and the wrestling, Okami used to have really dominant wrestling at that weight versus everybody other than Sonnen, because that fight surprised the hell out of everyone. I just think Bisping can even that out now and point his way to a decision.
Well, I mean, Mike's always, since he's always had that really great ability to get back up on his feet. I mean, his offensive wrestling's gotten better, and we really saw that in this past fight with Stan, although I wouldn't exactly call Stan the best guy to measure your wrestling against, but
he looked a lot better than he did against Sonnen as far as stuff at takedowns.
And he's shown that you can, he can take guys down, but he's always had that ability to get back up, and that's kind of a neutralizer to guys that aren't, even Chael Sonnen had a hard time with it. So, Bisping's an interesting guy because I think he's got all the talent in terms of technique there, but it's just he doesn't have those X factors that he really needs to get to that title realm.
I'm really disappointed because the other JD on Twitter gave me the rapboard.com, and I've been going nuts on it, and I'm the only one that can hear it in my headphones.
What is the rapboard.com?
Go to the rapboard.com. You'll see.
So you're
doing this? Be sure to click the first Birdman head because that's what I did, and it made me very happy.
So you're doing this while we're doing our little podcast here?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can integrate it so that it can actually be part of the show at some point. I don't know if we have the technical know-how and expertise to patch in audio from our computer into our feed here. But, man, if I could just break down some Rick Ross on you right now, I'd love to do that.
One thing, Derek, before we get back to MMA, I got the Jelly Bean update on my Android here, on my Nexus, and the Google Now thing is, it gives you those cards of stuff that you might be interested in. It gave me the score of the Tigers Royals game today, and I had no idea why it did that, but I was really happy to see that it knows that I'm interested in the pennant race.
Yeah, it seems to go off of what you search as opposed to what you've searched before. So sometimes, and now that you have a card, you can go in there and add teams and shit under the settings because it made one for you. You can add more stuff to it.
Yeah, I did search for Tigers White Sox earlier today because I was trying to figure out when they played their last head-to-head game. And,
it'll give you Tigers games all the time now. And it'll start using your GPS and be like, oh, you're 15 minutes from wherever your next appointment is, and just update that as the day goes on.
It has been doing that with, I went to the gym last night, and it gave me, right when I was about to leave, it gave me travel directions and times. And then when I was leaving the gym, it gave it to me, and I was like, whoa, this is fucking... I knew that's what it did, but it's crazy to pick up your phone and it says, you have, 55-minute commute back home. Oh, thanks, phone. But yeah, the Strike Force, not happening.
Yeah, so what's there to talk about?
Who gives a shit, right? I do love that anytime something bad happens with Strike Force, you inevitably get the 15 columns from every different MMA site saying just fucking
bad
promotion. And I obviously everyone agrees with that. No one really wants to see Strike Force exist at this point, but there's no way that they can fold it until the Showtime deal ends. And
they're working to extend the deal.
Are they?
Yep.
How is this all Showtime's option?
Yep. Showtime is working to extend the deal.
That's insane.
Yep.
It is insane.
Yep. Wait, can I say one more thing?
Oh, you can say as many things as you want. It's your podcast too.
Awesome.
No.
Baby. Rap board is awesome.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like that first, just give me a prrr. That's what I need.
Just Birdman?
Yes.
Which?
It's the first one.
Cash money.
Oh, my bad. This one.
There you go. That's what I needed. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Well, I'm glad you gentlemen are having fun with that.
The David Banner one is just embarrassing. It's like half of a second.
We do have a UFC this weekend, which is it seems so soon considering the layoff that we just had to deal with.
Dude, there's a ton of events in the next 20 seconds.
The next 20 seconds.
Yep, and the next 20 days. In the next 20 days, there's a ton of events.
I'm looking at.
There's going to be even more if fucking Strike Force wasn't so shitty.
I'm looking at the lineup, and I can't decide if I like it or not. I think I hate it.
What?
What?
The UFC on Fuel show this Saturday.
Why?
Well, I mean, it's not a great event.
Dude, you got two exciting young heavyweights topping it off. Amir Sadallah versus Dan Hardy should at least be sloppy fun. Matt Wyman's always good to watch, see if he gets triangled or not. Dwayne Ludwig.
Yeah, but you got 6 fucking English dudes on it. Like, come on.
And I know that you hate
way more than 6.
Well, 6 on the main field part of it.
Yeah, 10 total.
Like, who gives a shit?
Oh,
Well,
John
like I said, Dan Hardy and Amir Sadallah should at least be sloppy fun. Somebody might get hurt, and I love Miocic and Struve, so this is like watching two of my boyfriends fight. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it.
Hey, remember when John Hathaway beat Diego Sanchez?
Yes, I do. That was great knee.
He was the next big guy at 170.
Yep. What happened to that guy?
He's English.
Oh, true.
Well, there is that.
There's
I
only
meant,
one.
what happened to Diego Sanchez?
He's the dream.
Whatever happened to that guy, though?
Yeah, Mike Pyle is. John Hathaway has lost exactly one fight, and it was to Mike Pyle, who's like not a bad fighter. So maybe not write him off.
No, man, it's completely write him off.
He did beat Rick Story, too.
Did he beat the horror story?
He did. UFC 99.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Rick Story has a couple of weird losses like that, but he also, if I remember correctly, yes, he beat Johnny Hendricks. So
Wait, who beat Johnny?
Rick Story.
Yeah, Rick Story. He picked up. John Hathaway has picked up some decent wins, I guess.
Yeah, but
Rick Story has these weird, like, he has weird wins and then weird losses. He beats Johnny Hendricks and Thiago Alves back to back, and then loses to Brenneman and Campman.
Hathaway also split decision Chris McRae, though.
That was bullshit.
And that's got to be a mark against him.
He had to be so drunk before that fight.
Hathaway?
Yeah, dude, it's Chris McRae. Like you
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why?
What?
How does that happen?
He must have been so drunk before that fight.
You know, looking
Oh
at
man, I forgot that Chris McRae was a real person.
He is. Wasn't he on the Ultimate Fighter? Wasn't he the one like doing a blog for fucking?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was one of Luke Thomas's dudes.
Speaking of which, well, let's jump into the fucking that shit. SBN redesign. Thoughts?
Horrendous.
Yeah, it stinks, in the words of Jay Sherman.
So I immediately hated it. I've come around a little bit in terms of I think that they can fix it to an extent where it's not so bad. All the sidebar shit where they have the latest news and fan posts and fan shots, move that all to one side. Immediately, immensely improve the website because making your readers look back and forth for these articles is just insane. I guess they did it because they wanted people not to skip over the sidebars because that's inevitably what you fucking do with this shit. And so as a compromise, they decided to alternate it left and right like this, and it just ends up looking like shit. And then also there's little things, the video section, and then like trending articles that sort of interrupt the flow of the blog. And again, it just makes it look like there's sections when there's not sections, and it just Matt, you used a great word earlier when we were talking before the show. It's not intuitive.
Yeah, that's the thing. I get why they did it. If it works for sites like that are on their server, I guess, like The Verge, it works for The Verge. But the mobile version of the site sucks. If you're looking at it on an Android or an iPhone, it looks horrendous. The mobile app is dead. So remember that app that was like a huge launch for them and they spent a ton of money on and blah, blah, blah? They killed that app. It doesn't exist anymore. Like it's dead. And and as I said, it's not intuitive. Like you click, if you let the drop downs happen on every other, for every other sports league, it brings you down. Like there's a drop down and it says like, for MLB, it says athletics, and then you click on athletics, and it brings you to Athletics Nation, which is a blog. If you're in the NBA and you click on the New York Knicks, it brings you to postingandtoasting.com, which is the New York Knicks blog. If you actually click on the UFC, you click on that drop down thing that says UFC on it, it brings you to MMA fighting. If you click on the UFC from the drop down, it brings you to just like a an archive
It's
page.
like a tag, yeah. It's where you.
Yeah, like of like UFC. It's
There's no Bloody Elbow or MMA Mania. I
if
don't.
I'm trying to go to Bloody Elbow and I'm just trying to go from navigate from site to site to site to site, that top bar sucks to go to Bloody Elbow. And if that's part of the reason why they did it, which is part of the claim, then they failed. They failed because you can't go to the MMA sites. You can't go to Bad Left Hook. You can't go to Bad Left Hook from the. It's just super. It's janky.
Well, the Bad Left Hook and Cage Side Seats are in the more section, which is silly. There should really be a combat section because that's at least
That's
behind
what
the
it is.
scenes. That's what it is. It's the whole combat sports little group. But yeah, and it's especially silly too because as far as I know, Bloody Elbow and Mania are still the top traffic sites on the network.
Besides fighting, yeah.
Is fighting.
Yeah,
I've heard
fighting's
that they.
huge.
Yeah, fighting came over and was number one. Come on, man.
Well,
Yeah, from day one, fighting was number one.
well, in that case, then still silly because you're taking the top, the number 2, number 3 site on your network and just making it difficult to get to them, at least from the that top bar that they really wanted to push. The other thing that it kind of, I don't really want to get into it.
I mean, then there's one other complaint, which like I read the soccer blogs. That's how I got part of. That's how I started with SB Nation to begin with. I was the manager for Once a Metro, which is the Red Bulls blog. If you go down to the drop down for team list, it gives you all their soccer instead of it being split up between Premiership to La Liga and MLS, and I believe now they have a couple of what's called Serie A blogs. Like it's not intuitive. And if from the more section, if you click on soccer from the more section, then sorry, it's not in the more section. My bad. Whatever. I'm over my rant. I'm done.
Well, it seems like with soccer they could just do it like they do like Major League
Everything
Baseball.
else.
They split it into divisions and they just have that kind of in that drop down.
So Notshell Sonnen has actually told us that the word that we're looking for is clusterfuck.
Clusterfuck's a good word.
That's from Notshell Sonnen.
And we have the other JD requesting some hot boys. If you can pull that up on the rap board.
No. That's not on the rap board. That's my nickname, sir.
Is that right? I thought it was.
That's my soccer hooligan nickname.
I've always known you as Taco Life.
No, man, that Taco Life tattoo hasn't happened yet. The Hot Boys one has.
So
Yes,
who's
I have Hot Boys tattooed on my chest, everybody. It's spelled with Z.
Oh, Matt Roth. Who's Daniel Cormier gonna fight now?
Oh man, I can't tell you.
You know?
I know it's down to a certain. It's down to like 4 people.
Is one of them a bear?
What do you mean by a bear?
Like a grizzly
like
bear?
natural bear?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a bear.
What else
Yeah.
could he like? A large, gay, hairy man.
You
That's
mean
what
like
he
a
referred
hairy
to.
gay dude?
Yeah.
Not fighting. As far as I know, he's not fighting a gay hairy dude.
Are there any of those in the UFC? Can you
I
tell
think
us that with your secret sources?
What, a gay hairy dude?
Yeah.
Dude, closest no, I'm
Just shut up, Matt. You're gonna get in trouble.
I'm gonna get in trouble, so I'm
Just
not
shut
gonna,
up. Attaboy.
not answering these questions.
Well done. No, I don't know. No. What are you talking about? Don't
Well,
ask, don't tell. Yeah.
If I said the name Fabricio Verdum, could you?
Not it.
He's not one of the 4.
Nope.
At heavyweight?
Not one of the 4.
He keeps talking about moving to 205. I just keep thinking of him as a light heavyweight now, I guess.
Who? Fabrizio
Cormier.
Verdum?
No,
No,
Cormier.
Cormier. Because everything he said is, I want to move down to 205, John Jones, blah, 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 blah.
Nope, it's not Cormier. It's not Verdum.
I'm not going to play a guessing game with this because it
Well,
makes
you
Matt
better.
feel all special.
You
He's got a
better.
smile
How
on his
about-
face.
How about this, Matt? I'm gonna pull up the Bloody Elbow rankings, and you just start giving me numbers.
No, no way.
How about you give us
Wait,
his first and last
wait.
initials?
Wait. Where did the Bloody Elbow rankings go?
They don't exist anymore.
That was a USA Today partnership. They haven't asked me for those in months.
Dude, wait, the rankings are gone though.
Yeah, like
For
the page
real.
to view them.
Well,
Like
Huh.
I put bloodyelbow.com/rankings, which is what it used to be, and it just brings up like all the old posts.
yeah, it's probably dead.
Oh,
Like
there
I
we
said,
go. MMA
USA
rankings.
it got printed in USA Today. If they're not doing it anymore, what's the point?
Yeah, but it existed before the USA Today deal. Like they could still do them. Man,
I'm
that's
still trying
crazy.
to I'm trying to click through. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah, they literally do not exist.
Yeah, they haven't asked you lately, have they, Matt?
No, I got kicked off.
Well, I imagine everyone did. I don't think it was just us.
No.
You started out by taking Helwani's rankings and putting them on there, even though he didn't want them to. So fuck it.
No. They're still doing them. I mean, it's Burke, Fight Metrics, Fight Matrix, MMA Madmen.
Rich Wade promised me that Burke would never be on there. He swore to me.
Well, he lied to you.
Fucker.
So, Dallas Winston, Jeremy Botter, MMA Weekly, and Sheerdog, and that's they haven't done September yet. So let's take a look at the rankings, and I can tell you that you've heard all their names in the news lately.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I'm not going to ttell you because I'm going to get in trouble.
And it's going to happen in Strikeforce, right?
Right, it's going to happen in Strikeforce.
Who's gonna get you in trouble?
Well, whoever actually still listens to the show.
Yeah, I mean, really, like, what's the odds of this getting out that you told us this?
Well, I mean, dude, we're on the air.
Type it in the chat.
No, because you guys are going to say it.
That's probably what
But then you can't get in trouble. I'll get in trouble.
No, it's not going to work like that. I can tell you that it's people not in the top 10. It's people from 11 to 25.
Matt, we currently have 3 listeners. I think we're okay.
And we
Yeah,
know,
that's 3
we know
more.
We know the other JD is one of them.
Yeah, and I'm not telling him. JD, suck it.
You both like Jersey teams. What the fuck?
So it's outside the top.
If you stinky bastards out there, you better stick together.
You can confirm that they're outside the top 10.
I can confirm that they're outside the top 10.
Are they outside the top 20?
One guy is outside the top 20.
Okay.
Or 2 guys are outside the top 20.
Paging Jeff Monson.
Fuck.
Ha!
Yeah, Monson.
You already
Monson's
fought him
one of them.
once.
I'm assuming neither of you guys watched the UFC 154 press conference today.
Nope.
Or at least Derek didn't for sure.
I
No,
didn't.
I saw the
I
stare
didn't
down, though,
swear.
and Struve is a very tall man.
All right, that's cool.
He just looks like a future heavyweight champion. He's just a giant bastard.
Wait. Speaking of rankings, Jesse Holland still ranking Fedor.
Wait, what?
Jesse
Jesse
Holland had Overeem number 1 after Overeem beat like Todd Duffy. So
Oh yeah, Holland was the dude that like should have had his fucking ranking credentials taken
there
away.
were a couple of guys like Jim Genia, who I do like, had Kawajiri like number 4 at lightweight like a couple of years ago, which was just absurd. And a couple of guys were overranked the shit out of Aoki there for a while.
Remember when I pissed everybody off by not ranking John Jones one month?
I do, and they were like, "You shouldn't be." And Richard was like,
Like these are very serious, and I'm like, you know that we all hate doing these, right? Like,
well, our mutual good friend PDL really was pushing for me to rank Rumble at 205 just for the hell of it, but I never got the chance. So
I just
Well,
think it's
the funny thing was, is I remember bringing it up to Nate at one point and be like, "Hey, like you got guys, you know, I was specifically talking about Holland. Like you got guys ranking people that don't make any sense." And he's like, "Well, you know, we like that because we like, you know, it's a consensus of the MMA community. It's not supposed to be everyone's not supposed to have the same rankings." It's like, well, some people are fucking retarded. Like, get out of here.
some people are fucking retarded. God damn it, Matt! You're just no selling everybody today.
I'm not selling anything, man.
Horseshit.
Well, the last thing I have on my list, boys, and this is good since we're running
We're running out of time.
We're going like half
so
an
out
hour
of
today,
time.
so fuck it.
Chris Lieben
Broke.
broke.
got no
Doesn't
money.
got no money.
Chris
The-
Leben makes poor decisions in his personal life, more at 11.
The crazy thing about Levin is I would not be surprised if that dude made $1 million in his UFC run.
I wouldn't be surprised if he made $100,000 just for the Silva fight. Didn't he get knocked out of the night that night too?
For
When
the
he
Anderson
lost?
Silva fight?
When he lost
No,
Anderson,
the Vandalay
When he
Silva
got-
fight.
When he got knocked out by Anderson Silva?
No, the Vandalay Silva fight when he knocked Vandalay out in about 40 seconds. Multiple guys named Silva in the division, guys.
he won apparently no bonus according to Wikipedia. Which
Who got
doesn't-
knocked out of the night that night? He did it in like 30 seconds.
That apparently went to Mr. Carlos Condit. Oh, that's when he fucking splattered Dong Hyun Kim against the cage.
Ah, the flying knee. Yes, okay, so he
The
did.
flying
I mean,
knee. So
I'm sure Chris still got some money for it, but
Well,
I
he's
mean,
got some fucking
for
fight of
instance-
the whatever bonus is, doesn't he?
Just-
I'm going to look that up right
dude,
now.
just
Dude,
for that fight. Hold on, Matt. Just for that fight, Levin made $92,000 with his show and win bonus. So that's
Okay, so
a one.
okay, let's go through this. Fight of the night versus Yoshihiro Akiyama. There's 60
What?
grand.
Akiyama.
what?
Akiyama.
What kind of freak weird bullshit was that? Akanama?
Akiyama, fight of the night, 60 grand. Fight before that, Aaron Simpson, knockout of the night, 60 grand. 2 knockout of the nights before the Bisping fight and a fight of the night against Caleb Starnes. That's about 300 grand in bonuses right there.
It was 40 grand for Starnes. It was 40 grand for the Terry Martin fight. So that's 80,000, and then it was 60,000 for the.
Okay, so 60, 60, and 60. That's 260 right there.
Yeah.
That's not your base pay. That's bonuses over the last 3 years.
Right, that's 260 plus. I mean, he made $92,000 for the Silva fight, so that's already 300,000. Akiyama,
This is not including sponsors.
right? Akiyama,
But here's the thing.
he made $1 million at some point.
Here's the thing. Stanozolol and Oxycontin and Oxycodone, they're
drunk
not
driving.
really, they're pretty expensive stuff.
It's true.
Oxycontin's not that expensive.
Yeah, when you're addicted to it, it is.
Well, then in that case, you're buying it in bulk. You're paying less per pill.
It really does help having a drug addict on the show, Mike. See, I could sell stuff, Subbo.
Whatever. If you want to go toe to toe to who's taking more fucking prescriptions, I'll go for that any day of the week, Roth.
I've never taken scripts.
No,
Never
no.
really.
I just call them scripts.
So Leben's next fight in the UFC will be his 20th.
And it's against Carlos Vemola, the 6-time Czech wrestling champion.
Six time.
Okay, this will be Stefan Struve's 12th UFC fight, and he is 24 years old.
Dude, that guy is going to be brain dead by the time that he's like 30. Stefan Struve, that's a nut. Like, we're talking about Chris Leben being drunk, being broke, drunk too, I guess. Dude, fucking Struve is going to be broke as hell and unable to, like, button his shirt by the time he's 30.
I bet Struve has got plenty of money in the bank right now. He likewise has pulled down $240,000 in bonuses since joining the UFC in 2009. He is 8-3, and with luck he'll be 9-3 coming up here. Although I also love Miocic. This fight really fucking kills me because you know how much I've loved Struve for years. But Miocic is Ohio Balkans, and that's fucking my people. So I really don't know which way to go here.
Did you say Ohio Vulcans?
No, Balkans, like from the Balkan states. It's either a Croat or a Serb or
Oh, okay. I thought you said Vulcans.
I thought he said Vulcans too.
no, the
And I
Balkans.
had no idea what the fuck you were talking about, man. Fucking Vulcans?
Not a lot of logical people in Ohio, so no, not a very Vulcanish state. But the Balkans has a very powerful representation there in the heartland, around Barberton and Akron and that area. I got a lot of family up there.
So if you had to pick a winner here, who are you going to take? Just as a pure analytical view of it.
The thing, I picked Miocic on the low blow for Fight Linker. I could just as easily pick Struve based on his submission game. I think Miocic is a really tough little bastard. He's got compact boxing. He'll be able to get in and get out. And I don't think he'll go to the ground and hang out like he did with Del Rosario. He'll be able to keep it standing. I just think Struve needs more work in his stand-up. So logically, I'd pick Miocic.
It's surprising. I went to Best Fight Odds. He's actually Miocic is actually a minus 200 favorite, which is kind of surprising.
I didn't think it'd be that steep. If the line on Struve is like $1.60, then I'd put a bet on that.
You can get him at 185 at bookmaker.eu.
Make that bet.
You want me to make that bet?
That's saying he loses the fight like 60% of the time, and I don't think that's the case.
It's a little more than 60%, but yeah.
Well, I mean, 200
plus 150 is 60%.
Well, plus 266.7. So
yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
Mike,
thanks for doing the math for me.
go ahead.
Mike, you're a soccer fan, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't follow it as closely as other sports.
Mike, you're a pussy, right?
That's
Just
mostly
rephrase the question.
yeah.
Now, did you see the Zidane statue that was erected in France?
I did not. I saw that it exists. I didn't click through
Is
it.
it Zidane? I was always under the impression that it was Zinedine Zidane.
I say Zidane.
I say Zidane.
It's French. I don't think there are Zidanes in French.
There's dames. There's dames in France.
You know, I actually watched that match with a group of French guys that were staying at my place, and they weren't huge soccer fans, but obviously not being a huge soccer fan in France is still like you're a way bigger soccer fan than anyone else in this country. And when that happened, I turned around and looked at them, and they all had like the saddest look on their faces. It was so depressing. What did Materazzi say to him? Was it something about his sister?
No, they call him like they call him the N-word or something.
No, it said right here. It said something about his sister.
Yeah, he called his sister an N-word.
I was tugging his shirt. He said to me, "If you want my shirt so much, I'll give it to you afterwards." I answered that I prefer his sister. It's not a particularly nice thing to say. I recognize that, but loads of players say worse things. I didn't even know he had a sister before all this happened.
That's awesome.
There you go.
I never seen the bitch.
So you didn't watch that? Did you watch that match, Derek, or do you not care about football that much?
I watched the World Cup. That's pretty much the extent of it.
But did you watch that match?
Yeah, I did. That was the final between them. And I think Italy was probably going to win anyway, but losing your best player right before the extra time that they fucking make up as they go along, that had to suck.
Yeah. They don't make up extra time as they go.
Hey, do they say 2 minutes? Fuck it.
No, that's not. The referee keeps track of how much time is being lost, and they.
What, in his head?
No, they have a fucking watch, and they can add in their fucking head, bro.
But they don't do like 2 minutes and 46 seconds of extra time. It's always like in an increment of a minute.
Yeah, well, it's not an exact science.
That's fucking arbitrary. It's what I said. They make it up as they go along.
Whatever, Derek.
Bullshit.
You're an idiot.
Soccer.
All right, Brosifs, we got 5 minutes to kill.
Yo, best news! Fucking NFL referees are back.
Oh shit, Matt, you got to be pumped for this.
Dude, I'm so stoked because now I can watch football again.
If it weren't for the replacement refs, your team would be 0-3. So whatever.
Yeah, but did you guys watch that Monday night game?
Dude, that was horrendous.
The Sunday night game was also bad.
But when Jennings came down with that ball, when that play happened live, I'm like, oh, well, that's a clear interception. And then the referees fucking double called it, and then I just knew that they were gonna fucking, when they went to replay, they were gonna be like, it's still a fucking touchdown.
Well, it was judged this on the field, and the replay official can only determine. That's bullshit. They made a bunch of excuses for why it wasn't overturned when Tate fucking shoved the guy out of the way, Shields, before he caught the ball. The worst call that I saw was actually, I think it was a Packers game. I don't know if they were playing the Bengals or who it was a couple weeks ago.
I think it was the play, the deep throw.
Jordy Nelson just gets run over at the goal line.
Yeah.
And the fucking just arms in the air, and you can hear there's a montage now of the replacement refs of farewell to.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's in there, and you can hear the announcer pause for 3 seconds, just say, "I can't believe there's no laundry on the field."
Yeah. It's brutal. But one thing I wonder, I imagine this is what happens tonight. I imagine that the regular referees come on the field, they get a nice round of applause, and the first call that they blow they get booed out of the building. And I'm gonna.
Well, is it in Cleveland or is it in Baltimore tonight? Because if it's in Baltimore, that could be really funny. They just chant bullshit at the first bad call.
Dude, and that's the thing. Now that we've had the really, really shitty replacement refs, these really good refs, like the real refs, they need to be on point, like forever.
It's just going to make everyone feel better. I'm used to wishing death upon Mike Carey and Ed Hockley, and now I get to start doing that again instead of these no names that I don't even know how to stalk them on Facebook properly.
Yeah, to me, blowing calls is whatever. I mean, it really depends. A split second call, I don't have any problem with the referee getting it wrong. But with the replacement refs, it was the procedural stuff. It was not even knowing, how many yards to mark off on a holding call.
It was throwing hats at players.
Yeah. Still mad about Kevin Ogletree.
One thing, speaking of the cheering and then booing thing, one thing I loved when the White Sox let go of Frank Thomas, he came back a year later. I think he was with the Blue Jays. He might have went with the A's, but he came back. Crowd gave him a standing ovation. His first at bat, he hits a home run, and then they just immediately booed the hell out of him. And I just love shit like that. 2 minutes, I guess. Erica, you can start hitting the music. We'll get our fucking outros going.
It has to be at least a consoling fact for Matt that Seattle handed Dallas their ass anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered about the Ogletree play. Your team sucks, Matt.
Dude, I'm so mad about that. Like, let's say Ogletree's knee blows out. Let's say that happens.
Well, let's say he catches the pass and you lose 28-14 instead. Cowboys are fucking awful. Romo's a terrible quarterback.
Yo, do you want Tim Tebow back? Do you want Tim Tebow back?
Rather have him than Romo.
You'd rather have Tim Tebow who can't catch a little out pass?